And we are live. I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of Heart to Heart with Bree. Tonight's guest is Cedric Nichols. Cedric, please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Yes, hello world. My name is Cedric Nichols. I'm 40 years old, and I am a Texas native, born and raised. I am a fitness specialist, and I am currently spinal cord injury, C3 to C5, and I am incomplete.
Okay, so tonight's conversation it's about spinal cord injury and how I met Cedric. I met Cedric years ago. We were both certified through International Sports Scientific Association, and anyone that I've ever trained, they can tell you that I am a motivator. And what struck me was seeing Cedric's posts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is a motivator, and that's what drew me to you. And then I took some time off Facebook. And when I came back on, then I noticed your pictures and I saw the wheelchair, and I did not know how to approach you, and it just laid on my heart. And when I did, and you were like, you were willing to be a guest, I was very thankful. So once, thank you so much, Cedric, for agreeing to do this.
Absolutely,
Thank you
absolutely.
so much. And my friend Totlin is saying hello. Hello, Totlin. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad you finally caught me live. So I'm going to jump right into it, Cedric. What
Yes.
led you to personal training?
What led me to personal training?
Yes.
Well, I kind of was. I'm an athlete, of course. Was an athlete all my life. Played sports, and then also helped that my stepfather was a coach, so that
Okay.
instilled in me a whole lot of discipline and different things. Um, but just the drive to want to help somebody, uh, the love for myself and my body, and how healthy I wanted to be as in living a healthier lifestyle. Um, yeah, it just checked all the boxes for me.
Okay. And would you say that it was a calling for you? I've always felt that it was a calling for me. Do you believe it was a calling for you?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a calling or meant to be. Um, a lot of things in my life, from sports to my dad, just kind of led me down this path, and it was almost like I was bred for this.
Okay. Okay. So that's leading to my next question. Why are you so passionate about physical health?
Reason I'm so passionate about fitness, physical health, because I've been there before. Due to me being an athlete, I've been injured before, and I know how hard it is to have to get back up or even want to get back up. And so, me being that type of person, I always wanted to strive for to find the right procedure and the right exercises and the right recovery that is needed for any injury, whether it's
Yeah.
sports or just natural causes. So, it kind of just led for me just wanting more knowledge and wanting to share that knowledge.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And what I would like to share with the audience, and by the way, Totlin said hi, Cedric, and my friend
Hi.
Maxine said good evening. Hi, Maxine. Thank you so much for joining, and I'm glad you were able to catch us live. This episode is my first two-parter episode, and it was important to do this episode in two parts because what I would like to emphasize tonight is his fitness level before, his lifestyle before until the injury. And that when we come back, he'll be sharing about his recovery journey. And I would just like you to tell the audience real quick
Mhm.
what does it do to you when you have a spinal injury?
So one more time.
What happens to your body when you have a spinal injury? I'd like you to share that with the
Okay.
audience.
Yes, ma'am. So spinal cord injuries, they vary, and there's not one spinal cord injury that's going to be the same. They're all going to
Okay.
be different. But in my case, it was from C3 to C5, which is the higher part of the vertebrae, which has everything to do with your nervous system, your diaphragm, um, your spasticity, all the above. So that means losing, being paralyzed from basically neck down, and not able to have the muscle strength or the signal to go to your lungs to say breathe. So I mean, if it's not taken care of within like the first few hours, I mean, it can be fatal.
Okay, and I'm glad you explained that to the audience. Hello, Errol Wilson. He said good evening. Thank you so much for joining Heart to Heart with Bree. Well, I have to ask you this.
Mhm.
You are one that loves to motivate. Where does that drive come from?
Um, I mean, it always comes from just me always being at the bottom, always wanting to climb to the top, just in my life in particular. And always, striving to better myself. And once you reach the top, um, getting knocked down to the bottom, just to have to stand up again and rebuild and to rebuild into something better.
I'll say this, Cedric, and I've said it to you in the conversations that we've had. You were a motivator before your injury, but you're still a motivator. The posts that you share on Facebook, you're still talking about physical fitness. You're still pushing yourself every day to move forward, and you are still a motivator. I have to say that to you, and I want the viewers to really get the big picture of who you are,
Yes.
before and after. So I have to ask you this. One of the things you shared with me was that before becoming a trainer, you had a few setbacks. So I'm asking, would you like to talk about these setbacks and how these setbacks became your motivation to become an elite trainer? I didn't mention that earlier. You are an elite trainer, and I would like you to tell them also what an elite trainer is.
So an elite trainer is um, a trainer that's multifaceted in their fitness journey. So I am a nutritionist, a personal trainer, and I do exercise therapy. Um, and with those three combined, uh, really can boost you up. And there's others, and you can always keep going as high as you can with that. But those are kind of the areas that I was more drawn to due
Okay.
to me being an athlete and injuries, and just really draw me to those areas.
Okay. Now, the setbacks. How did your setbacks motivate you to become who you are today?
So I mean, due to me being having the past and many ups and downs, been through many trials, tribulations, through many valleys. Uh, I knew that I had a lot of cleaning up to do, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And one thing that I wanted to do was always looking for an opportunity to do that, and you don't always get that opportunity to rebrand yourself or change. And I mean, I knew that I had children, kids, and peers that kind of looked up to me, so I knew that I had to be a role model. And it's kind of hard looking for a role model, so when you can't find one, you kind of got to be one. So I was happy to take on that and try to the best that I can be, and to prove to myself that I can do it, and I am good at something, and I do have something that I can share with the world. So just the Most High just blessed me with so much.
He did. He really did. And one of your biggest blessings is your family. And that's something that you've always been big on, sharing pictures of your wife, of your children. So I have to ask you, what does family mean to you?
Family is everything, and me living in Texas, family is supposed to be everything. I mean, when you're up on the high horse and everything's good, and everybody's patting you on the back, they're great to have around. Uh, but when you're down at the bottom and you're looking for somebody that can pat you on the back or give you that hug or that word of encouragement, it gets kind of hard to depend on friends and peers. So it ends up on the backs of the family. So family is everything.
And especially with all that you have been through, if you didn't really know it before, I'm sure you have a whole new appreciation for your family now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
You were living your dream life. How did it feel to know that you were making a difference in so many lives?
It felt great. I mean, every day that I woke up, I mean, I was an early bird at 5 a.m. Started work. It felt great, real good. I mean, every day that I woke up, I mean, I prayed that I reached at least one person. I mean, if I can reach that one person and motivate that one person, it would almost be like a ripple effect. And I mean, that one person would teach one person, and it would go so on. And even if they didn't teach, even if they found a friend and they want to bring back, just to see what they've learned and who kind of mentored them and showed them, I mean, that means everything. I can't save the whole world, but I can save one person. So I always look at it: if you can reach one, teach one.
Definitely, definitely. Hello, Pam. Good evening to you too, and thank you for joining Heart to Heart with Bree. No, what I really want to get across to the viewers is an understanding of who you were before the injury. And I've discussed that with you. You know, a trainer, a husband, a father, a son, and a brother. You were a man that was in great physical shape, great physical condition. What did that mean to you?
It meant everything to me. I mean, before, I mean, I'm Mr. Positivity. I mean, I got a lot of flack. He can't be that positive, but you kind of gotta be in a world where everything is so negative. I mean, you can look around the corner and find something to be negative about. So, just me being Mr. Positivity, and me wanting to help somebody, and me wanting to be a better person for myself, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Not only for me, but for my kids and family and all those around me and my community. I mean, for those that look at it as people like me aren't able to do things like this, to show that it is possible and that you are able to have a different avenue than the norm is. You don't have to be a lawyer, a doctor, and all those things to make a big difference in this world. So, just happy to step up and just try to be an encourager to all those who are looking to make a better change in their lives.
Right. As a trainer, I can say that you feel so many different roles. You're training, but you're also motivating and pushing. And sometimes you have to be firm. You have to let them know, listen, right now I'm in control because I'm trying to help you to get to the next level. And it's a very fulfilling feeling when you see clients starting to accomplish their dreams. And like I said, I was drawn to you on Facebook because of all your posts. Because, like I said, I always believed I was the poster child for motivation, until I saw your post. And I'm telling you, Maxine is saying it here, so it's coming through to the viewers. Maxine says, blessings to you, Cedric. You have such a vibrant spirit, even though you're being faced with your injuries. And she's saying, blessings to you and your family.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
Yes,
you.
so they are seeing what I know, that I'm not the only person that's seeing this in you. I'm sure a lot of your friends in Texas and everyone that knows you. And I'm just, like I said, very privileged that you decided to come on and do this show tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm about to get to, and it may be a little touchy for you, but I'd like you to share with us about what happened on the night of your injury. You don't have to rush through it. I just want you to take your time. And if you think you have to stop, stop. It's fine. We're all wait. We'll take our time. We're just going to wait with you until you're ready. But I would like you to go back to the night of your injury.
Yes, no problem, no problem. Um, I mean, it was a ordinary day, ordinary afternoon. Just a little about me. Me being a trainer and actually deciding to turn things around and try to do better for myself and my family. I kind of cut out a lot of childish things that, I mean, I guess I would have done in alone, back before. And so I'm a homebody. I don't mind sitting at home. I like my own company. I'm okay with it. But that particular night, I was invited to an outing, just a normal outing. It was with my little brother. It wasn't that something that I would usually do, but it's my brother. So, everybody goes, and at the end of the week, or when they have time off, to let their hair down a little bit and detox from the week that they've had. So I didn't see anything wrong with it, and took them up on the offer, and we were having a good time. But one thing that I do know growing up, that anywhere there's big egos and lots of alcohol, I mean, it doesn't always play out too nicely sometimes. But sometimes it can turn out to be a great night. It can go either way. But this particular night, it was going great. It was amazing, being able to spend time, of course, with my brother, and of course peers around, that you might run into. So as the night was going, just mingling and really having conversations with friends, and you run into high school people that you went to school with and met along the way of life, and that's real good. And I'm there, and I'm actually having a conversation, talking to friends, and I'm oblivious and to what's going on around me, and that's usually not me. So of
Yeah.
course I let my guard down, not thinking I'm with my brother, and we're having a great time. So as I'm talking to a friend and not really paying attention to what's going on around me, um, I'm guessing an argument kind of broke out, and people were leaving, but you still had people there. Wasn't thinking anything about it. Continued to have my conversation and interact with my peers. Um, just end up to leave. It's time to go, and seems like I walked out the door of the establishment and walked right into confrontation. Uh, and as I was walking through the argument, or whatever was going on, to my vehicle, um, the it just gets worse and worse, the confrontation. And before I know it, within a split second, it went from me hearing argument to me laying on side of a truck, not being able to move, and me not being able to move. And I didn't really know until I really came to, and my brother approached and was trying to get me to get up, and all I could tell him that was I can't move, and I wasn't able to move. So it was like a humbling experience, because I was confused. I really didn't know what was going on. I'm like, okay, I'm laying on side of this truck, and I can't move my body. And from that point, um, I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, not only can I not feel my body, but I'm starting to lose breath, and I can't breathe. And I would say panic would set in, but it was a lot of praying. I can tell you that, a whole lot of praying. And that's what I remember from that point. And from the ambulance ride to the hospital, it's kind of foggy. I really don't remember much on that. But yeah, it was a night to remember.
So were you hit? Were you run over? I mean, do you remember?
So, so from the point to where I came out and I heard the argument, and I look up, it was blunt force trauma to the back of my neck, and this is what the doctor was saying. Because from that point, I don't, I didn't remember nothing until I woke up on side of the truck. Yes, ma'am.
So before, I'm thinking of before you went out, you're a personal trainer, very active, very physical. In fact, you were like the poster boy for physical fitness. And then then this happens. I mean, what went through your mind when you realized, and I'm trying my best to be very sensitive because I know this has to be very difficult, but what went through your mind when you realized that you just could not move? And then you said you were starting to struggle to breathe, and you said like you were praying. What was
Um,
going through your mind?
the what was going through my mind was my family, my children. It was mostly things that I wouldn't be able to say to them, things that I wouldn't be able to do. How do I explain what happened to me? Am I going to be even be able to explain this? Just the fact that like I was saying, the whole reason I got into fitness was to change and to better myself and become a better man, and to be laying on the ground in a situation that had nothing to do with what I'm striving to be was just mind boggling that it kind of turned out that way. And it was like the one thing that I was trying to stay away from kind of caught up to me, in a way. And yeah, it was just terrible.
Irene Roper, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm so glad that you're watching. I want you to backtrack a little bit about your relationship with your wife. And I'm doing this because there are so many, it's not just men, women do it too, that they may take their spouse for granted. It's not a good relationship. And it's when the chips are down that all of a sudden the spouse is like, all of a sudden this spouse is the best thing since sliced bread. But I'd like you to talk about your relationship with your wife before the accident, and because I want the viewers to really stop and think about what has happened to you, to think about the before and the after.
Yes, ma'am. Um, like any relationship, I mean, nothing's perfect.
Of
We
course
have
not.
we have our ups and downs like anybody else. But we're pretty much close knitted, very together, a good team for our children. Um, she's pretty much the same. She's a homebody, so everything is revolves around our family and our kids. That's why that night was so hard because they both, her and the children, um, saw me walk out the door that night, and we had so many things planned that night and the nights after that, just for them not to see me come back through it. I wasn't able to walk back through the door the same night that I walked out, so it was pretty hard on her and the kids. But before then, I mean, we worked hard, we trained hard, and we prayed hard. I mean, things weren't perfect, but we were working towards the bigger goal, for our family, which is just setting a stable and solid foundation for our kids and be able to give them experiences and things that maybe we weren't able to have, and like to instill into them what it is to be a good person and to help people. Um, so I mean, we were a team when it came to that. We were pretty much one brain as it came to that. Me being a trainer and working a lot kind of gave her a lot of, wouldn't say freedom, but because she worked, but she got to relax a lot more.
Hmm.
So she was able to interact with the kids as needed and her family, and more time for herself. It was just a happier time between the both of us.
Yeah. And now you did say that you were a college athlete, if I remember correctly.
Yes, ma'am.
What sport did you play in college?
Went to Blinn Junior College in Brenham. Played for. I was a defensive tackle, um, and those were some good years. Good years. Uh, Around that time, I learned a lot. Met a lot of people, and that's pretty much when life started to get real. If I can say, between high school and college is a totally different atmosphere. So yeah,
Sure.
it was great. Yes, ma'am.
True. Now, when you started training, because you told me that you ended up working at a hospital, and if I
Mhm.
remember correctly, so I just like to share because I want the viewers to get a little to get an idea of your training journey.
Okay. So, yeah, I didn't start off a trainer. I actually started off. I was working in a feed mill, and
Okay.
it was hard. It was hard work. Tyson chicken. Everybody eats chicken. So, have you ever heard of Tyson chicken? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I was working there, and it was a good job. Any job that you have that supports your family is a good job.
Yes.
Um, I just knew that I was meant for more. I just knew that me being the athlete that I was and having the background, and I just knew that this wasn't for me, that I wasn't being able to use my gifts that I was blessed with by, working at the job that I was working at. And it's kind of funny. I do have two other siblings, a brother and a sister, and my sister actually was graduating college, and her business degree and her kinesiology degree. Uh, she was set to be a coach, and she actually got an offer from the hospital, which was at the gym, for her to come and be a part of that and be a trainer and train there. And she actually turned the job down. And how that happened, I mean, I don't know. I just know I was working, and she turned the job down. I heard about it, so it was okay. But they were actually just still looking for someone to fill that position, and just so happened my name came up. She brought me in. And we had a great talk and a great interview. Um, I've never done anything like it before. I mean, of course, sports is my thing, so I mean, I know it in and out. And at the time that she gave me the interview, I actually had been at my job for about a year. All my benefits
Mhm.
were going to kick in. The boss even came up and gave me my raise, and my vacation, and I was like so excited. And then it was like boom, the same day I get the interview, and she's like, "Oh, you have the job." So I was so excited. So I get there my first day, and I'm excited, of course, nervous, and she said she introduces me to everyone and the members there, and they had a class going on, and she asked me to teach it, and she threw me in a frying pan. So I grabbed the bull by the horns and I went with it, and it actually worked out, and that's the beginning. That was the beginning of my journey in fitness, which led to many great things. I mean, from that class that she allowed me to teach that first day, that turned into a boot camp where she gave me the chance to go and promote it myself, just to see, how it would fit. And so I went to the high and to the low, to every business, every person that I can see, to see if they would be interested. And it ended up turning out amazing and great. And from that point on, um, I just kept moving forward and kept stacking the bricks, from getting my first certification through ISSA, which will be my personal training
Yes.
certification, which went well. That got me so far, um, which was amazing. That got me a whole lot more clients and got me more savvy in the way of constructing, my business as a trainer, regimens, and I mean all those good things, which led to me wanting more. Of course, you got to keep growing in the fitness. I mean, whether it's fitness or whether it's medical, I mean it's a never ending. It's a continuous learning process. Um, then that which led me to getting my nutrition, which is always a plus. It didn't only help my clients; it helped me out too.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because actually, I mean, before I got really into the job, I was on the healthier side, if I can say. I wasn't really in great shape. I have been in great shape before, being an athlete, but at that time I wasn't in great shape. So as I was growing and building it, I was also being my own poster boy. So people were just listening to my words, because that was the one thing that when I started the job, and I looked in the mirror when I got hired, and I'm like, man, nobody wants to listen to somebody that's out of shape. Nobody's going to listen to that person. So you have to lead by example. And
Yes.
that's exactly what I did. I led back from example, and every 6 months, every year, I was dropping, I was shaping. At the same time, I was helping. So it wasn't just me barking and telling you what I think is right. I was actually showing you, okay, this is right, this is working. I'm not gonna just tell you that it's working. I'm gonna show you that it's working, and which led me into the nutrition, and me being injured before and being around so many people and working for the hospital and having a physical therapy there. Um, it kind of showed me that anybody can get hurt, whether
Hmm.
you're a young kid or you're an elder getting a knee replacement or a hip replacement, which drove me and gave me the interest into exercise therapy. Which
Okay.
when you do work for a hospital or any entity, it's good when you do have a therapy department, and you have a transfer program to where the clients that they have transfer over to the gym part of the situation, so you're able to continue their therapy, or come up with new styles and ways for them to get better. So that's what led me to into wanting to get my exercise therapy, and it was just like the perfect match for me at the time.
Yeah. I have a friend that lives in Texas, and she said to me, she said, living in Texas, she said, if you don't want to get fat, she said, you have to sew your mouth shut. She said, if you go to a restaurant, she said, the kids' meal is like an adult's meal. She says the portions are just crazy.
Everything is bigger in Texas. Yes, ma'am.
And that is what she said to me, but I can relate to what you're saying. I when I was really training full time, like since COVID, I've gained a lot of weight back, but I had gone down to a size 2 because I was like, I want people to see that my program works. So you do feel that you have to look the part to present what you're doing. So I can definitely relate to that. Yeah, I wanted you to talk about your training because, like I said, I want the viewers to get a feel for who you were before. And then, like I said, when we do part two, we're definitely gonna, so they can see your heart and soul in the whole journey before and after, especially during your recovery. And I'm gonna ask you this now. Looking back to that night that changed your life in so many ways, what was it that inspired you not to give up?
Whew. What inspired me not to give up? The Most High. I've always been faith based. I grew up in the church. Grandmother, mother. And the list goes on. Um, and I've been through some pretty sticky situations. Like I said, I've had a past, and I know from my past, He's always been there. He has never ever let me down, ever. Even when there's nothing that I could do, He was there, and He's always pulled me through. And I always looked at it, why would this time be any different? So long as He kept me breathing, because I it was a chance that I couldn't be breathing, because my diaphragm, my nervous system, my nerves went haywire, my muscles are haywire. I can't move. I'm locked in my head. Um, I have every reason to break down and say no, and to be mad, but the fact that I was still breathing through all of these different things, um, just gave me hope, and me wanting to see my children and my family, because the last time they saw me, I was walking and I was upright and I was healthy, and to know that I'm not able to be there as a father, as a protector, as a guide. Um, it was pretty scary, and I just knew that long as he kept me breathing, I've never been scared of a challenge, and I've never. I'm a hard worker. I've never been scared of work, and me knowing that I have the Lord on my side and the determination and the hard work that I know that I have inside of me, I just knew that long as I was breathing, there was a way for me to get it all back. And some people say you can get certain things back. You might get this much back. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. You can ask the top doctor in the world, and I guarantee he won't be able to give you an answer. So, if you're going to tell me that it's up to me, I'm going to show you that I can get everything back. And my drive is the Most High and my children and family, and just the world. Period. Whoever wants to see and hear, because me being a trainer, uh, you don't have many people that care. A lot of people go through the motions. A lot of people are there for the paycheck. A lot of people are there for the accolades. I did
Yes,
this and I did that. So to really be a trainer and to care about your clients, you got to care about yourself. It all
true.
starts with you, and so I just want to be that person for any and everybody, and especially being in this situation at this point for my children. I mean, my kids, my son in particular, and my daughter, my youngest daughter, they grew up in the gym. They're gym rats. I mean, whatever I did, my son wanted to do.
Hmm.
Um, and me being in this injury, I knew that it wasn't going to sit well. Like a lot of things were going to change, and it just didn't sit well in my spirit, knowing that I can do something about it. And as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to keep doing something about it.
Mentally, I mean, especially maybe like days after all of this happened, did you find yourself struggling with depression? Did you find your mind was taking you to dark places? I know that you believe in God and you trust God and all of that. But when you realize that there's no movement, you know, did you ever, did your mind go to dark places?
Whew. Yes, ma'am. Went into really dark places, really deep depression. Um, it's hard to explain, but if you can imagine being stuck in your head, I would probably base it on like maybe a coma. You can hear everything. I could see everything, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. So being lost in my head was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I mean, I was lost. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, if I was even going to survive this. I
Yeah.
didn't know. And this is at a time this is during COVID. So, they weren't letting any visitors and people come see you. So when it came to my family or me just getting a big lump sum of support, I mean, it's not there. So I mean, I was scared out of my mind. Um, and I did have doubt. I had I had some doubt in my mind, and I was angry. I was so angry, and I guess more angry that I blame myself. I kind of blame myself in saying that I put myself in a situation, uh, from blaming myself to not knowing what to do, not knowing what tomorrow was going to bring, not knowing if I was going to see my family again. And then if I did, when I do get to the point to see my family, um, am I going to be a burden to them? I've always kind of been, the sole provider for my family. So, being laying here, how is that even going to look um, once this is all over? So, all of this running through my head, I mean, my heart was broken. I mean, I was broken into pieces. I didn't know what was going on or what even went on. So, I mean, I was just clueless to everything. So, yeah, um, negativity was working hard. So, Mr. Positivity wasn't so positive at that time. So yeah, it was extremely hard.
And how
Oh,
were you able to push through that now? Because I know it's easy to say, oh, well, I prayed, I prayed, I prayed. But I know that sometimes, I don't know if you had to go through therapy or whatever it was, but what did you do to help you during those dark moments?
so during those dark moments, it's kind of a blessing because it was something that wasn't heard of and they didn't let people do at the time. But my spouse was there the whole entire time. I mean, of course, she wasn't able to get to me until the hospital, and then she still wasn't able to get to me. So I mean, the whole time that I was there in the hospital, and I couldn't move and I couldn't read. I mean, I couldn't do anything. She was that still voice in my ear, steady praying prayers, steady reading books to me, motivational books, prayer books, anything that was going to lift my spirits, and just being by my side the whole entire time to hold my hand to, you know, when she seen something wasn't getting done right, she kind of put her foot down, and and you think if you don't have that person, whether it's your mother, your spouse, or anybody, if you don't have that, how much worse it could be. You know
Right,
how easy it
right.
is for people to turn a blind eye, or to not see you. For you not to be important enough to to get things done. So if it wasn't for her being there and encouraging me, and just that little bit of having that, she was normal to me. Everything else in my life at that time was unknown, and she was that one normal thing that I knew. And just having that one thing there, no matter she couldn't do anything for me, she was there. There in
He
my
was
corner.
there to support you emotionally.
Absolutely, yes,
Um,
ma'am.
Angela Hope is saying thank you for sharing your heart. Angela, thank you for joining us for another episode of Heart to Heart. You know, Cedric, what came to mind as you were talking was when, marital marriage vows in sickness and in health. Did it really make you stop and think about your vows? I mean, did you really have to stop and think, oh my gosh, what if I'd been a bad husband? Or like, thank God that my wife is sticking by my side.
Um, Oh, it made me think about many things in my relationship with uh, my spouse and my children. And yeah, it made me think about it all through the sickness and wealth. Because I mean, I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying that I was perfect. And
Right.
it was many things that she was angry with me about, or could have been even more angry. I mean, be mad about many situations. But for her to show up and to be there through all that. Oh man, yeah, it made me think about everything that so easy that you can throw away or disregard or not think of or not show attention to at the time that you have to show it. When you don't have that time, it's a different story. So yeah, it made me really think about our relationship and where we've been and where we are today.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that the viewers are really listening. This is making me think back to when I first, I'm divorced, but when I first separated, I remember one of the church sisters asking me where was my husband, and I told her we're not together anymore. And she went on to tell me about a friend of hers that was married. And she said that the man left her for another woman and actually married the other woman. And she said, do you know that he ended up getting sick? And then she said the second wife didn't want him anymore. And it was the first wife that took him back and took care of him, and said she actually slept on the floor, but she took care of him. And I remember saying to myself, why is she telling me this? Like, why is she telling me this? Because I'm not going to sit here and lie and try to make myself look good to say that I would have done that. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
it's important when 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 you're in a relationship, to treat the other person. And I'm not saying you're doing it because you don't know if you may be in an accident or whatever, because you're supposed to do it anyway.
Hmm.
So I
Yes, you are.
listening to you talk about your wife, and knowing that she stuck by your side like she did, it's very heartwarming. And just letting everyone know, when Cedric comes back in a couple weeks, his wife will be with him, and he'll be sharing about his recovery journey, and he'll be sharing about the steps he's been through to where he is now, and the progress that he has made, because this man is so determined. This man is not he is not giving up, right, Cedric?
No, ma'am, never,
Not
never,
giving up. And
never.
that's the thing that has really, really warmed my heart. There are so many lessons in your story. You shared a post the other day that it was your because you were so strong physically, that's what helped you. I'd like you to talk to the viewers about that.
Okay, yeah. So I was saying, fitness saved my life, and what I meant by that was, like I said at the beginning of my story, I wasn't always in the best shape when I first started training, and being out of shape and being overweight came with a lot of problems. I mean, breathing problems, sickness, just so many different things, and me being able to get in shape and get healthy uh, really meant a lot, and to elaborate on it. See, almost I lost track of where I was going with it.
No, we were talking about you being in good physical condition,
Oh,
and
okay,
that's
yes,
what has
ma'am.
helped you in your
So,
recovery.
so as I got stronger, uh, just helped me to build my body up mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I always think of it because it's a family diagnosis. I mean, I think my mother had it. Uh, and it's spinal stenosis. And what spinal stenosis is the narrowing of your spinal tube canal. So whatever all the nerves and everything that's in my canal, I was born. It's a little bit smaller.
Okay.
So whenever I had the trauma to my neck, it swelled my neck up. It swelled my spinal cord up, and it didn't have anywhere to go. So when they decompressed it from C3 to C7, um, to decompress it because there wasn't no room, I always think about if I was a little bit skinnier, or if I was still out of shape like I was, a hit like that would have broke my neck. It would have
Mm.
killed me. So if my reaction, if the muscle in my traps and in my neck wasn't strong enough, if all of these things played a factor in me still being alive right now. So when I say fitness saved my life, it literally saved my life with the the muscle the muscle tone, with me being able to breathe for a long time. You think about a runner, a cross country runner. Say if they were in a situation, they probably be able to last a lot longer when it comes to breathing complications than the normal person would. Just because they have their lungs and their diaphragm trained to take shorter breaths or deeper breaths, or and things like that. So when I say fitness saved my life, it saved my life because at the time I was doing it to look good, to feel good, and not knowing that I was going to need that muscle. I was going to need that reaction time. I was going to need that those breathing practices that I was doing and teaching my clients to save my own life. So when I say fitness saved my life, it did, and fitness is going to be what gets my life back on track.
What would you say to those who are couch potatoes, and they choose not to do it? I'm not gonna lie to you, for about 2 years, because COVID, I just wasn't going anywhere. So it's like, well, what the heck, I just started working out about maybe 2 months ago. And I'm very glad that I'm doing it, because it's like it's so important and you feel so much better. So what would you like to say to those who are not doing anything at all?
What I would say is Tomorrow's not promised. It's not promised to any of us. Um, and if you are struggling with mental health issues, if you're having body issues, if you're having sickness issues, all these things stem from being unhealthy, from the things we eat to our bad habits, all of these things. So being fitness is just not you wanting to look like somebody in the magazine or you wanting to put on a two piece for the summertime. It fitness literally is can save your life, can prolong your life, can add structure, can add happiness, can add light, can add endurance, uh, can add health to your heart, to every organ in your body. So it's almost like you kind of have to do it. It's not a maybe or it's just not my thing. It is your thing. Me, even if it's just getting up walking, even
Yes.
uh if you're a couch potato and you love couch, even if you put your Pringles can on top of the counter and you stand up and grab it 5 times and sit down, just do something, move your body, because your life depends on it, literally.
And it, when you say to quality of life,
Absolutely.
quality of life, it's like when I was in my, I became a certified trainer when I was in my 50s. And what I remember was that if you would have told me 10 years before that I would have become so fit, I would have been like, no way. But through hard work and dedication, and I think we owe it to ourselves. And like, I'm so glad I'm back on this journey because it's like, well, I look at my body and I see it getting round. I don't like that. But I'm looking at the bigger picture because, as you get old, you want to be able to reach for things. You want to be able to bend. You want to be able to, do things for yourself. So it's like I'm thinking about what you're trying to accomplish right now because you shared pictures of yourself doing, working out to the best of your ability. So, and I look at those pictures and I say, this is a man that is not giving up.
Yes, and I thought the same thing. I thought, because I work with different types of clients,
Mm-hmm.
from people in their 90s to people 15, 14 years old, plus my kids. Um, I always thought that the same way. Well, when I get older, I'm gonna need all this information. I'm gonna need this stuff that I'm teaching my clients, and I'm 40 years old, and I need it now.
Yes.
So you never know what life is gonna bring. Don't know what twist and turn, what valley you're gonna have to go through to climb back to the top. You just never know.
And
Yeah.
and that is so true. Kathleen Johnson is saying hi, Bree, and hi, Cedric. Thank you, Kathleen. Thanks for
I,
joining us so much. Cedric, I have really learned a lot in this conversation. And your story has made me think about not just physical fitness, but it's about also about relationships, because you had a good relationship with your wife and thank God for that because he stuck by your side. But also, like I said, I've always seen you as a motivator, and you're still a motivator. You're still on Facebook encouraging people all the time. You're still encouraging people to be fit. That speaks volumes about the man that you are.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It really does. And, I'm looking forward to when we come back with part two, where you will share your recovery journey. But I would just like to say, you'll be back in a couple weeks and, you'll share your recovery journey. But I would like to ask you, what closing thoughts would you like to leave the audience with?
I would like to leave the audience with as long as you can wake up and you have the right mind. Some people might not be able to stand. Some people might need help. But if you're able to wake up and you're breathing and you have the right mind, or even if your mind is not all the way there, don't never stop fighting. Always fight for change. Change is possible. Uh, every moment is the right moment to rebuild and do something better in your life. Don't take life for granted and rebuild. Continue to evolve, continue to grow in whatever field you're in, and always take care of yourself. mentally, physically, and spiritually.
That is so important. Angela Hope said, Cedric, I have enjoyed this. We never know what life will bring to us. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show. Like I said, I was off Facebook for about 3 years, came back on and saw what was going on with you. And, I was afraid to reach out because I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. And I'm just so thankful that you were very nice about it, and you were like, sure, I don't mind doing it. And when we spoke, you were very open about your journey. And I can tell you now that everyone that is viewed tonight, they have learned a lot from you. But not only have they learned a lot from you, I think you have left them with a lot of inspiration. And for those who don't want to work out tomorrow, they'll stop and think about you. And
Yes.
it's gonna get people really, you know what? If this man can go through a spinal cord injury and he still has the desire to get working out again and to do all these things, who am I not to even make the effort?
Hmm.
So I definitely want everyone to think about Cedric. And I'd like everyone to think about, marriage, partnership, partnership. Because I'm not lying to you, Cedric. If that was me with my ex-husband, I would be lying if I said I'd be sitting there by his bedside. No, I
Oh
wouldn't do
yes.
it. and I'm and I'm
Yes.
and I'm just being honest.
Oh,
So
I've
I
seen
think
it.
it speaks volumes about you as a man, for your wife and for your beautiful wife to stick by your side. I'm really looking forward to her coming on next week because your recovery journey is also her journey too.
Right.
No,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
it's her journey too. And like I said, this man, before all of this, he always posted pictures about his family, fitness, everything. So who you see tonight is who he is. And like I said, Cedric, I've been telling him I want to see him become a motivational coach. I really believe that he still has a lot to do. He has a lot to do. And, we need more men like you in this world, Cedric. Because
Oh,
you know
thank you.
what? You're not an angry, bitter person.
No.
You know, you're still motivating people, and you talk about God. You're not saying, God, why did you do this to me? And, you know, I don't think many of us who are here tonight would have the same attitude, the same positive outlook that you do. So I think it speaks volumes about your faith and about who you are as a man.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Tomorrow always comes. Tomorrow is always gonna come.
I would I tell you what, I think your mother did a great job raising you.
Oh, thank you.
I think she did a great job. I think when you have that strong motherly influence or grandmother, it shows.
Yes, ma'am.
It comes through. Someone is saying, I would like to follow Cedric. If you look on my Facebook friends, you will see Cedric Nichols there. Just send him a friend request.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
yeah,
Any and everybody.
right. And you will see what I'm talking about on his wall. You will see that Bree is not making this up. This man is the real deal. So, Cedric, we will be back in 2 weeks for you to finish your story. Next week, I'm doing a Father's Day episode, and my guest will be Andrew Green. So, I would just like to thank everyone that joined in on the live tonight. I'd like to thank you for participating. And please join us in 2 weeks when we come back for part two. And if you have questions about spinal cord injury or whatever it is, please feel free to come back with your questions because Cedric will be
Yes.
more than happy to educate you.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Cedric, thank you once again. Thank you so much.
And
This
thank you for the
episode
opportunity.
will be. Oh, you're so welcome. I am very thankful. Like I said, I'm not a big name out there, but it's my I've promised myself I will use my platform to help others to get their story out. And you know, like I said, this is the kind of story that I want to get out there. I don't do fluff. I'm not going to be talking to you about the latest fashion and celebrities and all. That's not me. I want to
Yes.
talk about things like this. So, Cedric, thank you so much. And
Yes.
you didn't think we would be on for an hour. Well, we just went a little past an hour. So you did a great job. And
Yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to part 2 of this episode. So,
Yes,
once
ma'am.
again, good night to everyone, and good night, Cedric. Thank you so much. Take care,
Yes.
everyone, and I'll see you next week with Andrew Green for Father's Day. Good night.